Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and here we are with the first video of the computer rebuild series. For those of you that did not catch the December post, basically we're doing a little upgrade slash rebuild of my desktop computer, which is the computer that I do the reviews on and all my editing and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do in this video is I will do a quick overview of everything that I bought, and then we'll do a unboxing of each individual component. Now I'm going to be recycling a lot of the components from the old computer, partly because over the years that I've had it, and I've had it 4 or 5 years, I've added stuff, upgraded stuff, so some of the components are still fairly new, and there's no reason not to recycle them. Just as an example, the power source that's running in there, I just replaced that last year, and it's a decent power source, so no reason to get rid of that. The RAM, no reason to replace the RAM, and some of the other components. But anyway, just a kind of an overview of what we've got here. First is the case right here, this Corsair Spec 02. It's part of the Carbide series case, and originally I was not going to upgrade the case. But I started looking at with the new CPU, a lot higher heat output than also with the video card. So I was considering, well, let's just get some more fans. I'll put some more ventilation in the existing case. We'll add some fans and go that route. Ended up, once I started pricing things out, a budget case like this ends up being more cost effective because you've got a case that's designed to add several fans to, in which the original case of my existing computer, I was going to have to go and do some modification to the case so that I could add extra fans to it. But anyway, so this is designed for adding plenty of fans to it and includes a couple of fans, so price-wise, just couldn't beat it. So, got the case there, got the motherboard right here, which is an ASRock 970M Pro 3. It is a MATX format, which is the same format as my old card was, or old motherboard was, sorry. And then right here for the processor, went with a AMD series, and this is the FX 8320. Ended up kind of being the best bang for the buck. Could have saved a little bit of money going with the their 6300, which is a 6-core processor, whereas this is an 8-core processor. But once you start, kind of doing the math, and the extra cores are going to be useful for all the video work that I do, it kind of end up being, the best bang for the buck. And then also with buying the processor at Micro Center, you end up getting $40 off of a compatible motherboard when you're buying an AMD processor. So all around, it just ended up being the best bang for the buck. And then finally, right here is a Cooler Master, the TX3 processor cooler. And the reason I went with that is AMDs have a tendency to run a little warm, and then also if I end up doing some overclocking with the processor, we're going to run into some more heat. So it's better to have more cooling capacity and not need it than, well, the rest of the story. All right, so let's get started by taking a look at this bad boy. And like I said, I got everything at Micro Center, but I will leave links down below on the video, down in the video description, to so that if you want to go to Amazon and look up these parts, you can either go there. If you got a Micro Center in your area, Micro Center will probably give you the best deal. If you don't have a Micro Center in your area, though, it might end up being better to go with Amazon, get that free shipping, or hey, find the best deal you can find. But anyway, you got links to part numbers and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, get the cardboard out of the way. There's the foam packing. And the foam packing around it is nice and tight, kind of a semi-rigid foam. So looks like pretty good protection. And besides the case, we got there's a little booklet. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here. Here you can see across our front panel, and you'll see more after I open up the inside, but well ventilated across the front. On the top panel here, you can see right here, got power and reset buttons, a pair of USB 3 ports, and then mic and headphone jacks. It's ventilated across the top. You can add fans up here. It's also set up so that you can go with a radiator. If you want to go with a radiator setup, you can set that up right through there. Not much to see on this side. Behind this is where your cable management is going to be, that sort of thing. So not really a whole lot to see on that side. Back side, you can see right here, got 120 millimeter fan, and there's actually a 120 millimeter fan already installed right there. Power supply will be down at the bottom, and then right here, of course, we've got our access for video cards and the motherboard, that sort of thing. And wrap it around here. And you can see on this side, you've got a window so that, and came with some kind of film on it. So pull that off, and once everything's installed and up and running, you can take a look in your system. So if you're one of the people that want to put the lights in there and make it all nice and pretty inside your case, you can knock yourself out and do that with this thing. So let's go and open it up so you can take a look and see what we got. And the sides are attached with thumb screws, which is nice to see. The only kind of kicker with it is it is not the kind of thumb screws that stay mounted inside of the panel. So be careful you don't lose them. So anyway, here we are inside the case. And like I mentioned before, there is that 120 millimeter fan installed in the back. And looking up front here, you can see there's a pair of 120 millimeter fans installed in the front. So we got 3 fans installed already by default. And like I said, you could mount a couple more up here. If you want to do the radiator, you can do a radiator. You're ventilated across the bottom also. So excellent ventilation on this case. As far as, well, here, let me get this box out of the way. And we've got space for 3 of the 3.5-inch drives in this cage right here. And you've got space for 2 2.5-inch drives here. And then up in the top, we've got spots for, we've got 2 5.25-inch bays. So, you want a pair of DVD players or, a DVD player, and, there's a blue million accessories and panels and whatnot that you can get in the 5.25-inch size, but any of that could fit in there. And in the box, we have got some cable ties, got our motherboard standoffs, some extra screws, all that good stuff. Close that back up. And let me flip us around to the other side. And there's not really much to see on this side. Basically you're going to use this side for routing all of your cables. And there are quite a few points so that you can use the cable ties to tie down your cables, and you know, they won't be flopping around, big mess and whatever. Now you don't have a whole lot of depth here between your motherboard tray and the backing here, but my guess is that that is why the panel right here is bubbled out the way it is. Let me turn it to the side. You can see it's kind of bubbled out there. My guess is that's to give you a little extra space. But you know, all in all, for at this price point, I think you really can't do much better than this case. All right, here we are with the motherboard. As I mentioned before, this is from ASRock. It is the 970M Pro 3. It is the M-ATX form factor size, and you know, designed for the 6-core and 8-core processors from AMD. Uses the AM3 Plus socket. So rather than just keep talking about it, let's go ahead and open her up. And included in the box, got the instruction guide. Wow, even it has English as the first language. That's impressive. We've got drivers, and we've got our shield for in the back. And looks like we've got two SATA cables. You know, it'd be nice if they included more than that, since you're going to have, I think there's like 6. Is there 6? I think, yeah, 6 SATA ports on here. So I'm not going to need any more cables because I've got a whole box full of cables, but you know, it would be nice if they had included some more cables. Let me go and put this stuff back in. I'll close that back up. And there she is. She comes packed in a anti-static bag. And there she is. And just kind of first impressions, the motherboard itself is fairly rigid. A lot of your really cheap motherboards, they're, you know, really flimsy and flexible, but this feels pretty well built. So just kind of a quick overview of what we got here. Looks like we got 4 SATA ports there. There's another 2 right there, giving us 6 total. Looks like we've got 2 PCIe ports here, and we've got 4 RAM slots over here, and we've got our headers over there. The fan headers over here, and you know, really there's not a whole lot to look at in detail on a motherboard, but oh, and then right here, of course, our socket placement. But like I said, it looks, you know, fairly well built, not too flimsy and whatnot, which is what you typically see in some of the cheaper motherboards. And you can see back here, we've got all of our ports, and let me just take a look, see what we got here. We've got a pair of USB 3. We've got looks like 4, 6. Yeah, we got 6 USB 2.0. Then we've got our ports for mouse and keyboard, and then our internet port. So you know, the basics are covered. Now this is a motherboard that does not have an embedded video chipset. Not a big deal since I am using a video card. It's just something to consider if you're looking at this and you're thinking about going with integrated graphics. Okay, And moving along, here we have the processor, the FX8320 from AMD. Clocks at 3.5 gigahertz, 16 megabytes total cache. Now, it is overclockable, so you can crank it up to 4.0 or even higher. I've even read people getting up to over 5. Initially, when I do the build, I'm just going to stick with the stock clock speeds, and then we'll have some videos later on about doing some overclocking and that sort of thing. And like I mentioned before, it kind of ended up being the best bang for the buck. It's not the fastest processor out there. It's not even the fastest of the AMD processors, but it fit my price point, and everybody's got to work in a budget. All right, so looking at what we got here, there is the actual processor itself. I know, a little tiny. You wouldn't think you need such a huge box for that little thing. Then you got a little AMD FX series sticker, so that might end up on our case. And then got some instructions that are mostly in Chinese. Hey, there's English. We're good. Okay. And then I am going to assume that this is the stock cooler. And yes, that is the stock cooler for the processor. And just for a comparison, and we'll just kind of merge right into the video on the Cooler Master cooler. You can see the size difference in the two coolers. So I mean, obviously, the more mass that you have, the more cooling capacity that you're going to get. All other things being equal. So that is the main reason that I went with getting the aftermarket cooler. Plus, after having gone through all of the reviews of this processor, the biggest complaint was that the stock cooler was either inadequate or extremely noisy. So moving on to the Cooler Master Hyper TX3 cooler, and let's just go ahead and open it right on up. And once again, not a whole lot to see on here. Comes with a stock fan on the front, and you can also add a secondary fan on the back, so you can have sort of a push-pull setup. Get a little extra cooling there. As you can see across the bottom, all of your heat tubes come right down to the bottom and will be in direct contact with the processor, so you should get really good cooling with a setup like that. Now, Cooler Master, kind of going through all of the different coolers that they had, there was a couple of steps down from this, couple of steps up, but kind of at this price point, it kind of looked like the best bang for the buck. And once again, if it's not cooling quite as much as I want to, I can go and add that second fan to the back side, get a little more cooling going through that route. So yeah, there's the cooler itself, and there's a little accessory box that came with it. Let me take a look and see what we got there, if I can get it out of the plastic. And we've got our instructions, and in English. That's always nice to see. Got a little tube of heat paste, and then we have all of our bracketry for attaching the cooler. Speaking of the bracketry, I should have mentioned it earlier, but this is compatible with both AMD and Intel processors, so that's why you've got a variety of different brackets depending on what manufacturer processor you have. Okay, well that about finishes this video up. I hope that you enjoyed it, give you some idea of what we'll be doing in the build, and I'll be doing videos showing you the whole build process and whatnot. Also wanted to for all of my regular viewers out there, once again wanted to say a big thanks to everybody that donated to the project. Basically everything that I got right here, once I get all the mail-in rebates sent in, I'm going to be just like $2 or $3 shy of covering the entire project with donations. So everybody that donated to the project, thanks. There were lots of couple dollar donations. Lots of those had several $20 and $30 donations. So once again, thanks to everybody that donated to the project. It's really going to be helpful for getting things going again with the channel. So that being said, thanks a lot, and I hope to see you all on the next video.